This is my second video, and thanks if you're coming back for the second time. I hope I'm giving you food for thought and an insight as to how I see things and how other people see things, because I've been talking to a lot of people about the condition and the ethics and the moral problems in our country. How can we let more people in when we haven't got this coronavirus under control? How can we let people in? We need to close the borders. Eisenhower did it. They weren't open till the late 60s after he was way out of office, and we got things under control economically, financially, and we had just gotten out of World War II. And Eisenhower closed the borders to stop the diseases and the plagues and all the other stuff coming in. That time they were fighting rubella, polio, and some other things. Now that we got that out of the way, they opened the borders back up, and they would only let specialized people in, like a doctor or a nurse, if there was a need for a professional agency. Now they play the game. They bring in everybody from China to Russia and special visas to steal our technology and take it back to their own countries. What do we do? Nothing. Joe Biden's son got $3 million for being in charge of something or on a board, something that he had nothing to do with, and the Chinese paid him because his father withheld government money funding until he was approved for that position and got that money. And now you vote him in. And old Joe, say it ain't so, Joe, like shoeless Joe Jackson, he's walking down Pennsylvania Avenue. I'm watching him during his inauguration. He's scuffing his shoes. He's going over to the side to talk to somebody and lean on the railing. They put him in the White House to sign documents, and he's asking what they are. They're saying, just sign, Joe, just sign, Joe. This whole thing is being set up for Kamala Harris to become president. Think about it. He's 78 years old. He's the oldest living president we've ever had. My family never lived that long. Well, my great grandmother and my grandmother did, but my mother and my father didn't live that long to be 77 years old and be in charge of my family, let alone the country. Does he know a red button from a green button? Does he know the White House from a red house? Is he like Obama? Obama wasn't senile or crazy. He just thought we had more states than we had. Remember that when he said he's been to all the states, all 51 or 52 states or whatever, 53 states? I don't remember the exact number, but it doesn't matter. I remember making a spoof. Did he ever correct it? No. Did he talk about people with the guns and Bibles? Yeah. But yet he say he was a Christian. He'd go overseas and he'd kiss the imam's ring. I don't care what he is. I don't care what he done. All I care is about how he messed up my country and what he's led us to. And then Hillary Clinton, there's one for you. She had a server in the back of a grocery store, whitewashed her phone. People said, oh, that's not true. They didn't find no evidence. Well, they found evidence. They didn't persecute because whatever, whatever. And there was a server in a grocery store. Now, if you and I did that, and they're trying to lock up this admiral right now for saying he had sexual advances towards some woman, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. I'm not judging him on that part. I'm just saying there's so many things that are so wrong. Why are you spending time and money and effort on these things when we got people hungry, sleeping in the streets, little kids begging to have a place to sleep? Is it their parents' fault? Maybe. But mainly it's the government's fault for not providing supplemental income. And I don't mean in a communist form. I don't mean in a socialist reform. We got Bernie Sanders, a socialist, on the White House staff. We got people that came here from other countries, like that OCS or whatever her name is. I don't even care. That's how much I don't pay attention to her. She brought up got here in this country or brought up in this country from Venezuela or whatever, and wherever she's from, I don't know if that's exactly where she's from, to be honest with you. The same thing with that other lady there, the one that's a Muslim. I forgot where she was from, Somalia or someplace. She came here. We gave her food, clothes, welfare, fed her, clothed her, sent her to school. She gets in government, vote her in, and she's bad mouthing the country. How do you bite the hand that fed you? And if things are so bad here, leave the country. There's planes and boats going out every day, folks. Planes and boats going out every day. Why do I get passionate? Why do I get upset? Because this is my country. This is what my ancestors died for on both the South and the North. And what they died for, they lost their land. And the Indian massacres and the white man's victories. Every time the Indians won, it was a massacre. Every time the white man won, it was a glorious victory. Well, they're extinct now, just about, and they've lost their country and their land. They finally beat the system, opened up some casinos, and now the government wants some of that money and some of that non-taxable income that they want to tax. Well, you know what? The whole world is in an upside down shape. According to the Bible, we're in anti-X prophecy. Not shaking a stick at you, not telling you to get right, just telling you what I know, what I believe, and what it is. God is great. God is tired, and he's beat up from us spitting on him. We were a great country. We can be a great country again. As he said, we can make America great again. But every time somebody stands up for something that's conservative or wants to save the world or change, not have change in their life, they're automatically anti, and they're either racist or prejudiced. I am neither racist or prejudiced. Italians like spaghetti sauce, meatballs, and Sunday spaghetti and macaroni, whatever it is. Germans, my mother was German, loved potatoes, steak, and that was a meal. My dad, being from the South, cornbread, grits, whatever else, fried chicken. Does that make him a stereotype? No, that's the food he was brought up on. I was with my black fiance for 8 years. Then she left me in a wheelchair with a PICC line and no antibiotics after I put her up to go through nursing school. She used to eat soul food, chicken, and things like that. Now, I have a lot of black friends and Puerto Rican friends and Cuban friends. They like their pollo, their chicken, their rice, their beans, their frioles. You know, that's all good food, man. I had it in Texas. But you know what? One common denominator. We're all Americans. Let's fix the country. Let's put us back on track. We can't fix everything that's broken, but let's fix feeding people and not going to a food bank. I used to do a food service to the inner city, food kitchens. We used to call them soup kitchens. Now they call them nutrition centers. Just like everything's changed about terminology and how you say things, politically correct. Well, in my day, it was a soup kitchen. We'd go to the grocery stores, pick up leftover things and other things, and we'd make soup, sandwiches, or whatever we had that was donated. We would feed people. They would come in for half an hour before and help clean up afterwards and leave and get fed a meal a day. We even later on gave showers. I gave, Sunday services when I had to. All that in consideration, we worked at a grassroots level to feed people, and there wasn't that many people. Where there was maybe 200 or 300 people. Today, there's over 1,000 at the same soup kitchen. 1,000 people. 1,000 people. And then they show up in line at these soup kitchens and food kitchens with brand new cars. And they go out and panhandle on the corner. We need to stop that, get these people some real help, get them job trained or whatever they got to do, and put them back on the marketplace and help them stand up and feel good about themselves. Everybody's scamming everybody. The computer, you can't even use your identity or be lost. What is wrong with people? What is wrong with America, Joe? Joe, you said you were going to fix everything. You ain't fixed nothing. You've made it worse. 1.9 trillion on top of already the trillions and trillions and billions and trillions. We're supposed to balance the budget according to the Constitution, but we don't pay attention to that. But the Constitution comes in handy for other things when you're violating somebody's rights according to you. Or you say, well, a pedophile has a right to go in if he feels like a woman that day and go in a woman's bathroom and look at the young ladies going to the bathroom. Let me tell you what, Mr. Pedophile or Mr. Young Lover, you come in and touch one of my kids or look at somebody while I'm in there and I'm in a wheelchair, I'm going to take out a gun. I'm going to shoot your ass. I don't care about standing my ground. I don't care if I go to jail. You have no right to do that. You don't want your rights violated? We don't want the children's rights violated. We can all live along, get along together. We can put you in a place that we can nickname Sodom and Gomorrah. You can enjoy life there with your other buddies. We can put you all in the state of whatever. I'm not going to mention a state because I don't want to insult anybody. But you can go live in one state. I even said that. If people aren't happy being blended in, which is what America is about, and that's okay. It's a good thing that homosexuals' parents weren't homosexuals, or they wouldn't be here. Now, am I bashing homosexuals? Not at all. I love you. I love you more than you know. I do. My sister's a lesbian, and I love her. I just don't speak to her real well. I don't speak to her at all. I don't say anything nasty. I don't say anything good. I don't say anything. It's none of my business. I have to worry about what I do. I have to worry about, the Bible says I have to worry about a toothpick in my own, or a telephone pole, mind you, in my own eye before I can tell my neighbor or my friend, or even a relative they got a toothpick in theirs. So I'm taking myself and I'm examining. And I'm saying to you, from my lifetime experiences, I've seen everything from the invention of a computer, which was a huge monstrosity thing in the 60s, to the PC that I'm talking to you on now, to the electronic age we're in, where the cell phones taking over the industry with video phones and everything else, where we were lucky if we had a party line and a dial phone in my day. But you know what? It's okay. It's all good in that aspect. But the negativity is coming from what are we doing with all these great modern inventions? We're still killing. We're finding out ways to kill each other off with nuclear power, with nuclear bombs, warheads. Stop. Stop. I don't care what nationality, what your belief is. I've studied a lot of them. It took a few years to study them. Islam, I've studied yin and yang. I lived where the Joseph Smith farm was up in New York. I understand. I'm not telling anybody to believe or not to believe anything. I'm saying check within yourself if that's what you should be doing, what you're doing. Don't be the kid caught with his hand in the cookie jar and say, I don't know, Ma. I don't know, Ma. Let me tell you a story. It ain't no fun in the end when you're accountable for your own sin. I haven't been accountable yet, but I've asked God for forgiveness and divine intervention and the strength to tell you these words I'm telling you. We need to check America. Look at the medical stuff. There's people, this one lady on Facebook was begging, crying, because her young child of, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years, 6 years old is on insulin, or maybe younger, I don't even know. She was crying because she went to pick up her insulin and her medical changed because of Joe Biden's medical stuff. She can't afford to buy the insulin for her child. It's like $500-600. She bought it, I guess, once or twice. She couldn't afford it no more. She couldn't do it. I offered to send her some of my insulin. You know, I feel sorry. What can I say? This is the country we live in. I'm not asking you to donate anything. I'm not asking you to look up a GoFundMe page or none of that stuff. I'm saying to you, years ago, my house burned down, my barn burned down. My neighbors would come over, we would repair it, rebuild it. We'd all have a great feast and a meal and be happy. Today, my house burns down. All you lousy people around me would come over. It didn't really happen to me, but you would come over and you take whatever you could resourcefully get out of my house, take to your place and say, look what I found over at the house that burned. Rah, rah, rah. That's not America, man. That's not America. Same thing with being in the military. If you're in a foxhole and then and the ISIS people are shooting at you, you don't care if your buddy next to you is black, white, or green. You know, you guys want to get out of there together and alive. You're going to struggle and fight. You get in a car accident. You don't care what color your blood is. You say, give me that blood, man. I need a transfusion. So we need to stop. There's been terrible things on everybody's side. The poor Jewish people for years and years, 2,000 years plus now, still being persecuted. And they've got their own place now. Everybody's trying to bomb them and take over. That was a piece of land that was no good. Nobody wanted the Jews after World War II. We didn't even want them here in America. So they sent them to that little piece of land over there that was no good. I remember when they planted the trees. I remember when they irrigated, and they started a whole lot of stuff. And now they're the number one producer of plants and fruits in that area. They're about the size of Connecticut, just so people know. And they're the number one producer in that part of the world for those things. Is that a blessing from God? I think so. I think so. I don't think you can make that happen. I don't think Al Gore could predict that with his global warming. It's going to get warm over there in the Middle East. They're going to have some good crops. I don't think that could happen, Al. You know what? And now every day they're bombed and tormented. And you know what? They survive because God said that's their promised land. I'm grafted in. I'm not a Jew by nature. I'm not a Jew by nationality. But you know what? By the grace of God, He loved me that much that He took me in. And again, please, please, let's wake up. Food for thought. Hopefully. What can we do about it? Call your congressmen. Call your senators. Don't vote them crazy liberals. There's liberals on both sides of that party. There's some quackos on the Republican side. There's quackos on the... Seems like there's more on the Democratic side. I'm going to tell you straight up. I was a Democrat. I was. I was a long-haired, hippy-dippy weatherman back in the day, and I was very right on, man, right on. Hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go. Vietnam. It wasn't a pretty thing. It wasn't. It was all over oil, Mobil Oil Company. And then instead of just wiping out that little country and getting them straight, they ended up being a democracy anyway, semi. You know, all that people that died for nothing for the oil. And then we bailed on them anyways. That's another story. We're bailing on everybody. Because, you know, even the American people. Joe Biden, You made promises. Are you going to keep them? Don't tell me you are. Don't tell me you're keeping them. Don't show me some false statistics. And same thing with Mr. Cuomo in New York. Mr. Cuomo, I always said your day of reckoning was coming since your dad was in office. You guys have thieved, pilfered, and taken that state and drowned it. And it's my birthplace, but I'll never probably go back there. I'll die here because I can't go back there. The taxes are too high. The population downstate is too bad that you give everything away to everybody that's downstate that votes for you. And the people upstate are more towards conservatism and work for a living and aren't real happy with you. So you know what? God bless America. Search your souls, Mr. Cuomo. Search your soul, Mr. Biden. Search your soul, Kamala Harris. You're not black either. You're not even you're Middle Eastern something, but you're not black. You're not black. Your skin may be dark. My friend, who he's black and his wife is dark skinned, were on a talk show, and they said, "Well, you're African American. I see your wife is African American. How do you find?" He said, "Wait a minute. How do I find my wife's not African American? She's not African. She's from Panama." He goes, "Oh, I assume." Well, you don't assume people because their skin is not as light as yours that they're African American. There's no such thing as African American. And the Ku Klux Klan, by the way, I'm not a Ku Klux Klan person, and to be honest with you, I don't advocate anything they do. But it was started by the Democratic Party. It was started to help people, and the Democrats were the first ones that were racist. And they continue to be behind the scenes racist when they use people to get votes and promise things and give things away they can't afford to give away. Do some research. Look up Nancy Pelosi and the Visa credit card, Chase Manhattan Morgan Bank. She bought some things that was legal, but I don't think it was right. It's legal for them guys to buy stuff behind the scenes. You and I can't do insider trading on the stock market. When the banks went bad, she sold her stock in Visa, knowing that it was going down. She took her money, put it away. She knew that the banks were going to be bailed out by the United States government. Knowing that information, she bought some more stock at a lower price. She went back in, bought it at a lower price, and then when the banks bailed out, it went through the roof again. That's how she manipulates and uses things. Joe Biden's the same way. I'm not going to get into particulars right now. But you folks voted for this guy. Don't have recourse or recant now because you can't handle what's coming down the line. He's going to pass. She's going to come into play. Prediction. I'm not Nostradamus. I've not got a crystal ball. But I'm telling you, he is not in great shape. And I don't even know how you could have voted for him. Best thing would have been not to vote for anybody. But America, he's our president. And yes, he is yours. Yes, he is mine. Because I'm an American. God bless America. And may God show Joe Biden the true light. And may God show Kamala Harris the true light. And may God bless America again. And bless all you folks. And if you're not, like I said in my other video, not a believer in God or believe in Christians, or you're an atheist, it's okay. May you be morally correct and stand up for your birthplace or your citizenship in America and not give it away or slightly let your ancestors have died for nothing in vain so we can take this country down to a low third-class country that I probably won't be around to see, but I feel it in my bones for my grandchildren and for my children's children. Please, let's turn this around. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon, hopefully.